why we make better decisions for others than for ourselves. You're stuck choosing between two job offers. One pays more, but the hours are brutal. One pays less, but gives you time with family. You flip-flop for weeks, but your best friend faces the same choice. You tell them exactly what to do in 15 minutes. Why is that? Welcome back to 5 Mins Psychology. I'm fascinated by this quirk of human nature, and it turns out there's real science behind why we're basically genius advisors to everyone except ourselves. Let's start with something called psychological distance. When a problem belongs to someone else, it feels far away. Not physically far and emotionally far. And that distance is actually a superpower. It makes us zoom out. We stop getting tangled up in the emotional weeds and see the whole forest instead. When it's your problem, you're down there in the dirt, can't see anything clearly. When it's your friend's problem, you're high above it, spotting patterns and priorities like you're looking at a map. That's not intelligence, that's perspective. Here's the second thing. Other people's problems aren't personal to us. Sounds obvious, but it matters. When you're deciding for yourself, your ego gets involved. Pride creeps in. Fear of looking bad. Identity gets tangled up in the decision. You don't want to make the wrong choice because it reflects on you, but when you're advising someone else, you genuinely don't care if they look foolish to the world. You just want the best outcome for them. That freedom from self-protection is huge. It lets your actual wisdom come through. Think about it this way. You've got a friend who keeps dating someone who treats them badly. From the outside, it's crystal clear this relationship is unhealthy. You see it immediately. You probably said it out loud a year ago. But your friend, they're tangled up in attachment, hope, and fear of being alone. They can't see clearly because they're too close to the pain. That's not because you're smarter, it's because you're not emotionally invested. The third insight is about what psychologists call the spotlight effect. When it's your decision, you assume everyone's watching and judging. You overthink. You catastrophize. You imagine worst-case scenarios that are actually pretty unlikely. But when you're deciding for someone else, you're not worried about being judged yourself. So you give realistic odds to things. You're more rational about probability. You don't imagine a meteor hitting their house when they take the riskier job. You just weigh realistic outcomes. And here's something cool. There's also this thing called the objective self-awareness gap. Studies show that when people give themselves advice, they're harsher and more critical than when they give advice to others. You are your own worst enemy. You minimize your own strengths and maximize your own weaknesses. Someone else, you see their full potential. You remind them of times they've overcome difficulty before. You believe in them in a way you often don't believe in yourself. The last piece is about emotional regulation. When a decision feels really high stakes for you, your amygdala, that's your brain's alarm bell, starts going off. You get flooded with anxiety or urgency. That actually narrows your thinking. It's like your brain zooms in on threats instead of possibilities. But when you're advising someone else, you can stay calm. That calmness lets you think wider and longer term. So here's what we can actually do with this. You can't teleport yourself into the observer seat for your own decisions, but you can pretend. Next time you are stuck on something, try this. Ask yourself what you'd tell your best friend if they were in this situation. Or actually tell a friend the details and listen to what they say. Or write down your dilemma as if it's someone else's problem. Seriously, write it in the third person. Sarah is trying to decide between. See how different it feels? You'll probably come up with better advice instantly. The real lesson here is that you're not actually worse at decisions than you think you are. You're just blinded by closeness and stakes. Create distance, Lower the emotional temperature. Ask someone else, or ask yourself while imagining you're someone else. Your wisdom is already there. You just need to get out of your own way to find it.